This is Giovanni Roverso in Bellingham, Washington. You're watching Live Music Fights for Survival, Part 6. On May 24th and 30th, I interviewed Craig Jewell, part owner of the Wild Buffalo House of Music. He's also working with the Washington Nightlife Music Association's pandemic relief effort.
So my name is Craig Jewell, part owner of the Wild Buffalo since 2008. There's just a sort of a different weird time frame for my other two business partners that are currently with me, which is Joey Crahan and Lee Huffman. I was in a band, I was in college, I was 21. The Wild Buffalo wasn't what it is these days. It was almost exclusively a blues venue, and college kids didn't go there at all. We randomly stumbled upon it on like a random pub crawl, and we were like, holy shit, this place is awesome. We kept on going there for open mics and begged the owner to let us play. He had a lot of hesitation because we weren't like a blues band. And then finally he let us play, and it was like record attendance, record bar sales, and he was just blown away by it. And then I started basically working pro bono there to try and help him keep the business alive because it was not in a good spot at that time. And then he said, I want to pass the torch to you, Craig. Find an investor, because I know that you're a broke college student and the place is yours. So I was sort of handcuffed to the deal. And that's how I got the Wild Buffalo. The big downs was the business partner problems, lack of fulfilling fiduciary duties. And there's been, different economic downs. And the thing is that this business, talent buying, owning a music venue, is in itself nothing more or less than professional gambling. We're taking high risks on shows. The formula is how many people do we think will pay what price to see what act? And then you have to put up the money for that. And sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong. And I've gotten really good at getting it right most of the time because I've seen what has failed. You had to go through those failures in order to pave the way for a successful future. So it's been a long run. I've been there, 12 years? It was 3 years before I had ever booked an electronic show at the Wild Buffalo because it wasn't relevant. And so you also have to change with the time. And now, almost a third of the calendar is somewhat electronic based. It's just moved in that direction. So that's a challenging but kind of fun part of the whole gig. Our last show was March 14th. It was with Manatee Commune. It's a producer from Bellingham. Now he lives in Portland. 250 or less, I believe, was the first rollout, because no one knew the severity of it at that time at all. And so we capped it at that. We also made it available as a live stream. But even at that time, we were like, does this feel right? Should we be doing this? And I believe it was the next day there was like, and then we were done. And we had like a massive sold out show on Tuesday, sold out show that Saturday, big almost sold out show that Friday, sold out show the following Monday, close to sold out show on that following Tuesday. From March to the end of April, when everyone closed down, there were 17,000 musicians that were supposed to be on stages in the state of Washington just during those 2 months. Musicians don't make money by recording. Music is free now. You make a penny off of it unless you're in the major leagues. So the only way that musicians make money is by touring and playing live shows. And so the WANMA's efforts aren't to, even though our goal is to save the venues, but it's save the venues, saves the artists. Because if they don't have a place to play, there's no point of their existence. It's our culture. And so that's what our main goal is, and that's what we're fighting for. So there's this act called Emancipator, and they were confirmed for May 5th, and then they moved to July 2021. The reasoning was because 2 of the venues on that tour closed down. Those big ticketed nationally touring acts are the ones that generate the most income. So that's perspective on how severe this is for music venues. We're the first ones to close down, and we are 100% without a doubt the last ones that are going to be open. We're like phase 6, essentially. In my personal opinion, it's either vaccine or testing at the door. That's the only way that I see large crowds being able to safely come together again. Every single month, it's like, oh, next month we'll be able to open up. Oh, next month we'll be able to open up. It's political like calmness. Phase 4, in my opinion, is going to be December, January. So phase 3, if we're lucky, we're looking at maybe October. But then we have to create a whole new business model for our vacuous space. I mean, we're a shoulder-to-shoulder business, and that's how we operate. And that's the only way that we can be successful. We could pick away at stuff and do karaoke, lip sync battles, trivia nights, some comedy nights. Definitely have to have all the tables and chairs out so that there's separation. Everyone will have to be wearing masks, depending on what stage that we're in. We're getting a non-touch thermometer checker, which I think gives people a sense of comfort. We'll really only be able to do that twice a week, realistically, because there's going to be kind of a lot of oversaturation with those types of events. But that's not going to put a dent in the bucket. The grand picture is fighting for rent relief, fighting for insurance relief, and most importantly, going after public and private funding for music venues specifically. So that's why we created WANMA and have been working our asses off day in and day out for that organization. And the city of Seattle were just awarded $750,000. That was a unanimous 9-0 vote from the county council. They were the first group under NIVA, the National Independent Venue Association, which was all fought through WANMA, to have received money and to recognize music venues in the situation that we are. The private sector is what we're 100% hanging our hats on, and we already have dedicated and committed donations from the private sector on a large level. I am somewhat the representative of everyone outside of King County because I'm one of the founding members and definitely one of the most active. Myself and a couple others are the ones that are working the hardest on it. But we have a massive, massive team of people, and we're actually getting pretty well organized right now, and it's very real. I have a call once a week, every Friday, for the Champions Call, which has our consultants on it. It has our 2 chairs, which is Scott Redmond, the CEO of Sellon Construction, which is the biggest independently owned construction business in the Northwest, and then the operations manager of Pearl Jam. We also have a representative from Vulcan and Dunn & Hobbs, a real estate mogul in the Northwest. Sir Mix-a-Lot is on every single one of the calls. Vicky Martinez is on the calls. A couple venue owners. The director of communications at Starbucks, Holly Hinton. It's this group of individuals that their lives are raising shit tons of money for people, and they recognize the need for this. So currently, based on all the surveys that we've done with the individual venue owners, as far as what they are paying out each month, And for us to be able to successfully get these venues through the end of the year, we'll need to be able to raise around $10 million. And that's exactly what it would take. And the group of people that we have on our team working for us are beyond optimistic that that goal is achievable. So that's what we're shooting for, because money is the thing that we need. We all have so many expenses. The goal for WANMA and Love Live Music, we've had to create a separation because WANMA is actively doing lobbying for legislation, and you can't do that as a nonprofit organization. So we've created another entity which is being incorporated right now to be under a fiscal sponsor that we're working with under a foundation, so that that entity, which is a nonprofit organization, can receive the funds, but the foundation will be distributing it. You're going to be seeing a lot of that popping up soon, because that's going to be the portal and conduit in which the money is going to be going through. And so WANMA is going to mostly just be existing as a lobbying and advocacy entity. The most difficult part about this whole thing, hands down the most difficult part, is creating the criteria for which who receives the funds and what piece of the pie each of these entities get. You do have to take an account of need. Let's take the Wild Buffalo and the Firefly. Their needs are obviously going to be a lot less because the operational expenses and rent are exponentially lower. So creating that calculator has been a very difficult one, and we've reached out to consultants, and because we've already put together the framework a few times, and there's been backlashes every single time, because there's going to be entities that are not happy about the way it gets formatted no matter what. Because we're trying to include as many entities as possible, but also there has to be deductions as well as bonus points. Deductions for if this music venue is able to do carry out food right now, if they're able to have income, and then deductions for the size of the venue and rents that they are. Bonus points for venues that are owned and operated by people of color, and owned and operated by LGBTQ, and so on and so forth. Like, there's a structure that we're putting in to do that, and it's just a very convoluted, difficult thing, and there's no right answer. What we did just do is we reached out to NIVA, the National Independent Venues Association, and said, we need you to put this criteria together, or under your umbrella. And there's a lot of conflict of interest when trying to create this criteria, because we're venue owners. Other criteria examples are like, you must have live music at least 3 nights a week and have X amount of musicians, is something that we've been pushing for, so that it's not just that bro club that just has their resident DJs. They're not supporting the touring acts or the national acts. But then that also brings up headaches with like the places like Q Nightclub, which actually actively brings in national, international talent all the time. How do you delineate, figure out if they should be a part of this or they shouldn't be a part of it? And so that's been a massive headache. If I were to guess about pure normalcy, October 2021.
Stick around, and I know she knows this here is all concrete, and I miss my little town, and I know she knows I got the big city blues. I don't wanna stick around, and I know she knows this here is all concrete, and I miss my little town, and I know she knows I got the big city blues. smile. I miss the houses, I miss the streets, I miss all the people that greet me with a smile. I miss the houses, I miss the streets, I miss all the people that greet me with a smile. I miss the houses, I miss the streets, I miss all the people that greet me with a smile. The show ain't over. Patience.